Bill here. I'm coming at you from my kitchen today. I'm home. I've been home for a while, but I'm sitting at home actually now, not wandering around out in the street. Need to make a long video. A lot of people have asked me to. This one won't be too long because I have to take my daughter to school, but this will be part one. Let's just call this part one. I want to talk about influencers and what kind of information that you get from people that like me and people that appear to be like me on the internet. People live on the scene, people have flashy websites, a lot of money behind them. People are just doing their thing by the skin of their teeth to counter the narratives, the harmful and untrue narratives that are going out in the mainstream media. I had something strange happen recently. I always have strange things happening on the internet. I think maybe, don't want to sound paranoid or self-important or anything, but I have some things happen in my email and my accounts and stuff that's kind of hard to explain. This is a very mild thing. I posted one video that was really not controversial at all with my daughter and I on a bus, and some of my family members made nice comments, and those comments disappeared. I didn't delete them. Why would I do that? I don't know why anybody else or how anybody else could delete them, but they just vanished and other comments remained. So I was told this and I looked into it, and yeah, they're gone on Facebook. And I went to the link on YouTube to see what sort of comments are there, and it was the same thing. Their comments were gone, but other people's were still there. And then when I went back to the Facebook, all the comments were gone. Then I went back to the YouTube. I was just looking at it, and all the comments had disappeared. There were no comments. I said, be the first to comment on this. Well, what the hell is that? Can anybody who is familiar... I am new at the YouTube thing. So if anybody could explain that to me, I need to try to fix things if I can. But I think it's some kind of shenanigans. They've done shenanigans to me before. I had a web page up, I guess you would call it a Facebook page. Somebody else put it together and they made me an administrator, and then they got banned. So I just wasn't really into it. I just took all the stuff that was really too radical for my site that my schoolmates and family and people that know me went along with. I mean, you got to be careful how much information you release. Everybody doesn't live in my world. And if people had come to me back in 2001 and told me the stuff that I've learned, I would say, you're nuts. I've done that. I've had a guy trying to tell me things that were unequivocally true back in the 90s and early 2000s. He was a little over the top, but then, you know, anybody that really digs to try to find the truth, usually that's the kind of personality you're going to have too. But, and I told him, you're out of your freaking mind. And I scoffed and I laughed at him and I snickered and left him my sleeve and told my friend, he thinks it. Something I can't share on YouTube, but it's unequivocally true. And I found out over the years that he was right. That is exactly what happened. It is a historical thing. I'm starting to Patreon. I have a Patreon channel I'm building, and we're going to be able, in theory, to actually discuss things like that. I don't have to tiptoe around it to keep from being banned for telling the truth. But I'll tell exactly what it was, because it's still something Americans can't get their head around. It's an interesting phenomenon because all Russians know it. Where the Bolshevik Revolution came from, who were the original Bolsheviks, what fueled it, what people came in from New York and London to, you know, be assigned commissariats, be given positions of commissars, and some of them mass murders were perpetrated by those people. It wasn't Russians, it was an international foreign power. But we can't mention it because even though it's the truth, it gets complicated. Anyway, back to my original subject. Yeah, these comments disappeared, and then all the comments disappeared right in front of my eyes, right while I was looking. They do stuff like that. The stated goal of I don't know what they call them, electronic warfare people. There's a whole division of the British military is dedicated to that. I suppose they would be, you know, rather posh, educated, and articulate people. And then there's organizations, private and corporate organizations that do that as well. We used to have something called Hasbro people that would always be lurking around paleoconservative sites. This is back several years ago when I first started doing blogging, writing, and commentariat. And we learned how to recognize them and deal with them. And it's kind of funny. I think I might have flipped some of them. And so now it's mostly bots, and they have rules. No dialoguing, don't listen to them. Because they can fool you. Yeah, you're on the side of truth. It's easy to turn people, but they look at it as just deception because they don't believe in truth or they hate it. That's their mentality. I've met people in the military when I was in Kandahar. I did some work occasionally for the psych ops guys, you know, moving things, just physical stuff. I didn't get involved in any of their operations, but they like to talk and they like to brag, and I didn't like any of them. I like to smack the teeth out of a few of them. Oh, is that violent? Okay, metaphorically. But I've never seen such arrogant, stupid people. I mean, I'm sure not all of them are. I'm sure there's psych ops guys that aren't, but these guys are like adolescents. You could tell immediately they're so smug, they thought they were orders of magnitude smarter than everybody else because they can manipulate people by lying to them and getting them to trust them. What an achievement. All the people in that sort of work are like that. I mean, you just look at their insignias. Google it. Psych ops insignia. I think one of their main ones is it has like I think it's a skull with a screw going into it. And it says psych ops because physical wounds heal. Oh yeah, you cause mental wounds to people and never heal. Yeah, I'm sure you'll get a real good heavenly reward for that when you die because you're American and you're right. But anyway, I'm getting off subject. Their missions, and you can read their operational manuals and stuff, older ones that get around on the internet. You can look them up, the actual authentic manuals they go by, and their stated missions too, especially this division of British electronic warfare people, and there are some in the U.S. too. I'm sure there's more to electronic warfare than being a troll, but they have lots of trolls, paid trolls. They look for sites of people that maybe don't trust the government, and maybe find counter narratives to things that are really kind of fugazi to begin with, but they don't like that. You have to go with the fugazi one because the official narrative. And they'll try to sabotage conversations, they'll vandalize conversations, they try to turn people against each other. If at the very worst, they just start throwing poop everywhere, so it's not a pleasant site to visit anymore, and they lose subscribers. Those are the tactics. And they're going to get worse because now they have deep fake. Anytime they want to, they can make a real nasty email and send it to all your relatives with your address on it. And they can do it in a style that sounds like something you would write too if they've studied you. It's not hard to do. They think they're freaking geniuses for coming up with this stuff. I'd be really shocked if they haven't done it to people. I'm surprised it hasn't happened to me. I'm targeted. I spread the truth, and I've uncovered a few people that weren't who they said they were either on the internet, actually several times. I'm going to tell the stories about it too. I didn't expose them. I was actually quite subtle about it, and I think rather nice. I knew exactly who they were with just a little research. Some of these people are working for the State Department and other places, and the NSA, the National Security Administration, and they violate their own OPSEC rules all the time. You know, they have an unusual name. You can Google it, and their LinkedIn page comes up, and you find out who they really are. And I just mentioned something about their life that only I would know on a comment, And in real life, I've met some of these people, and then I see them on the internet pretending to be, you know, exact political and ideological opposite of what they really are. It's a lot of operations, a lot of self-funding operations. They get donations from people, and they are fighting the corporate media beast. They're fighting the corporate media, and you find out who these people are, and you look into their background, and you find out they are corporate media. They always have been. They come from corporate media families, and there's CIA links too. I mean, if somebody's father was the, say, for instance, let's just say theoretical, the Moscow bureau chief for NBC during the Cold War, you think he wasn't an asset? CIA wouldn't be doing its job if he wasn't. But now they're pro-Russian. They're telling the truth. And they get all these citizen journalists who are, some of them on the scene, recording things on their cell phone, unequivocal evidence of what's happening. They take all that and aggregate it and put it on their real slick high dollar site and then take donations. 99% of the time there's no attribution as where that came from. So the person that's out there in the field doing it, everything dries up. They don't get any funding. Funding goes in the pocket with the slick site who has backing and never gets banned. That's how it works. It's a self-funding operation. Some clever, diabolically clever, some of the things they do. And because some of them I think are magnificent bastards. That's just the way they think. Or maybe they're just kind of dull and just fall into it, because if you're just corrupted and all about money, all you think about is what you can grab. And I've met people like that in businesses. They were really very dull. They weren't very smart at all, but they got filthy rich by ruining everything around them. And they even shot themselves in the foot a lot, because they just had this mentality of, like a crab, looking around to see what I can grab. Their whole life they go through it like that. I wouldn't trade places with them for anything. I'd rather eat a bowl of dog turds every morning for breakfast for the rest of my life than have their character for a week. I'm serious about that. How's that for contempt? Okay, I'm just ranting now. Probably shouldn't do that. I need to get my Patreon and my other side set up. They don't like seeing people making connections. He says as he wags his finger around. Boy, that's kind of hypnotic, isn't it? Stop. I, online, through the blogosphere and the commentariat sections of various news outlets and magazines, met a guy. And he lived out in Siberia, and he was an American, and he spoke Russian. And he'd been there a long time, and he knew he knew his way around things a lot better than I did. I think it was about the time of the referendum, and things were going to change and be more Russian than Ukrainian. I started to see things be a lot more complicated, because you can't just give people a little money and get what you want anymore. No more bribes. Yeah, they clean things up here. Anyway, him and I are corresponding. I sent him a nice long email asking him a lot of questions, and he sent me an answer, and I was anticipating, and I was really waiting for it. I got this email, I opened it up. It was really long too. I'm starting to read it, and all of a sudden, poof, it goes back to my inbox page, and it's not there anymore. Well, how the hell does that happen? I wrote him another email. I asked him, do you use burn mail or something? I mean, there is a program that does that, but it doesn't disappear while you're reading it. No, just regular email. He says, well, you know, the email you sent me just like vanished while I'm reading it. Well, he was pretty tech savvy. He says, that's not possible. Yeah, it's possible. Lots of things are possible. Anyway, I've had a lot of experiences like that. Things get really weird. It's like, I've seen some weird stuff. Yeah. And I'm going to talk about it. And we all have intuition, and we could tell when we're talking to somebody whether they're on the up and up and not. I got stories I could tell, not necessarily about that stuff. I got stories I can tell from my biker days that I don't tell people. You know why? Because if somebody told me that story, I would think they're just such a liar, a creative liar, but a liar. There's no way that can be true, but it is. I've seen it and I've done it. I can't talk about it. And this isn't, you know, some sort of organizational stuff either. It's just stupid stuff I did on my own. And the results of which, we live in a strange world, much stranger than you might think. Anyway, I'll give you a brief primer on how some of this stuff works. These influencers. There's two kinds, if you want to call, you know, everybody's an influencer. I mean, very few people are so vapid and insipid that they have no influence on others except to waste their time. That seems to be the most popular as far as YouTube videos and TikTok. Okay, TikTok's big on that. But you can still see things through it and draw conclusions. Well, like the nurses that were doing the TikTok dance videos during the thing that happened earlier. What can you get from that? What do you derive from that when they're supposed to be so busy and they're supposed to be such caring individuals and in crisis, and they're actually mocking them, and their dance videos are wheeling gurneys around with tags on the toes and stuff. Yeah, that's real nice, especially if you got cancer or something and you can't get surgery because of it, and they're making dance videos where they put balloons in their butt and everything. There'll be an accounting for that kind of stuff. Maybe not in this life, but there will be an accounting. There are actual people trying to help people and do all manner of good. They don't have time to do stuff like that. And they get in trouble. But, oh, I had a point somewhere in there. I kind of drift off sometimes. I'm sorry. I'll try to stay focused. I'm going to start writing myself notes. Like I said, I'm new at this. Help me! Oh, incidentally, if anybody knows how that could have happened with the comments disappearing, if any of you guys are familiar with that sort of thing, there's maybe something I did to cause it. I don't know. Doesn't seem like it. It didn't happen in my other videos. Tell me. Give me your ideas. Anyway, two major kinds of influencers. Only two that are relevant. There's the insipid, banal, stupid ones that have no pertinent information to share, just amusement. Besides being a waste of time and a diversion and distraction, it's nothing. There's people that are purveying lies, narrative support for lies, ideologically driven malinformation, and you can get in on that. You can get paid. I don't know if you could switch sides. If I could become one of them, not that I would ever think of it. We're back to the dog turd metaphor with that one. But you can be an influencer and you can make a little money. They pay people to do that. Corporations pay them, NGOs pay them, special interest pressure groups pay them, nations pay them. I go on and on. And then there's people that try to counter that stuff and say, wait a minute, you're being lied to. You know, if you believe that, you're going to have a weakness they could exploit. You're going to waste your money and take your rights away. Those people generally don't get paid. They're usually doing it on their own. I've been doing it for years because I am an Orthodox Christian. I believe God is truth. He made the world out of truth. Every molecule comes from the ether as energy and forms matter is truth. God is truth. In the beginning was the Word, the Logos. The Word is God and was with God. The foundation of everything is truth. And the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us. I don't know how many of you believe that, but it's certainly interesting. It's something you might want to explore. I'm going to do a little demonstration here. I've had friends that were just, or people I've encountered and worked with that were just relativist, absolute relativist, if you could believe it. Absolute relativism. Nothing is really true. Is that a true statement? Is that an absolute statement? They don't like absolute truths, but they have an absolute statement that nothing is absolute. I got a box of, oh geez, these are cookies? My wife brought something here. We just call it a bag. Okay, I got a bag here in my hand. Ooh, good stuff. I don't want to damage them. Maybe I shouldn't use this. Oh, I'll use this. Okay. I have this object here, this bread type object. Okay, watch this. I dropped it on the table. That act has been woven into the warp and womb of the fabric of the universe. It's there. It's permanent. It's not going away. It's nothing you can do about it. You can forbid people from talking about it. You can lie about it. Uncle Bildy did not drop that thing. That is not true. This is disinformation. This is out of context. He didn't really drop it. Or, you know, I mean, you could spin it any way you want. Philosophers, some of the modern, you know. Oh, you gotta ask yourself, what exactly is dropping after all, you know? It's been done for thousands of years. All this equivocation and all this dissecting and all this tedious exegesis of what things really mean. Fact is, I dropped the freaking roll. I dropped it twice. It happened. It's permanent. It's permanently etched into the universe, into the fabric of the universe, in the mind of God. There's nothing you can do about it. You can deceive people. That takes a lot of energy. And you got to continue to burn the energy, and you're going to lose in the long run anyway. Information war is important. I wish more people were in on it. I wish people supported people who were in on it. I knew a man who was a reporter. I think he was affiliated with the BBC at one time. I might be wrong on that, but his name was Maurice. He was a friend of mine. He did an interview with me about Crimea back years ago, like 2015 or so. It's a good interview. It's gone now. You can't find it anywhere. They scrubbed all that stuff. But he was telling the truth about Syria. He was going places and interviewing people. He's telling the truth about Muslim theology. He interviewed Muslim scholars about things to try to get away from the media cartoon image of the head choppers. and what really goes on in the Middle East. I mean, he did a lot of good work. And he just ruminated, like I do, about information and things that he's seen besides his interviews. He did a lot of work. But he got nothing. He got nothing! I think he was on Patreon, and last time I checked, he was getting peanuts. I don't think he was getting just a few $100s a month. Because people don't want to pay for truth. You pay for Netflix. You're going to pay for Netflix. You just sit in your bark lounger and pay for Netflix and close your eyes and open your mouth and let them just shovel anything they want in there. It's all propaganda. It's all narrative support. As long as you got dirty jokes and explosions and sex scenes, yeah, you're into it. But, you know, you need to realize you're going to stand before God one day. You don't want to hear that? I don't care. Don't listen to me. Go away. Go back to Netflix. I don't want you here. If you're concerned about truth, if you love truth, you need to be doing something about it. Nobody supported wars. He moved to Cambodia so he could rent a place for like $40 a month. And that way he could afford internet and nice cameras and travel and keep doing his job. That was his calling. I'm honored to say it's my calling too. Morris died back a few months ago, so it's kind of not a good thing. There's some tributes to him on the YouTube. I suppose they'll probably take them down eventually too. All the snarky, smart people that are in Silicon Valley that are apparently orders of magnitude smarter than the rest of us. You know, they're going to achieve something. They're going to bring us into the great. They're going to bring us into the New World Order. They're the ones that set up the algorithms and the bots to find trigger words and focus on your YouTube video and see if they need to ban it or not. They got to spend a lot of energy. Well, you guys just keep spending that energy. You're like a silly little bird building a nest in a windmill on a still day. Or better yet, you know, it could be windy, but the windmill, you know, the tank is full, so the windmill is locked, you know, the tail's furled. You build your little nest there, and you work really hard, and you make a beautiful nest. You're watching this stuff, you know what's going to happen. That float's going to go down, and then that thing's just going to go whoosh, and woo, willy-nilly everywhere. Oh, but best plans of mice and men are oft gonna gley. A little Robbie Burns there for you. Yeah, I dig poetry. Support people that are doing this if you believe in it. I mean, if you think it's harmful or you think they're just crazy, you know, keep your money. You know, if you get something from it, if it speaks to you, if it changes your perspective. And if you can afford it, you know, I'm going to put out stuff for free for everybody. I don't care. I'm going to do it however I can. But if you can, subscribe to the Patreon site once it gets going. Or, you know, find a way to support people. It's important. Because your corporation's got billions of dollars to keep these lies going. They're trying to enslave you. They want to turn you, they want to eliminate a lot of you. They just want to get rid of you and then keep enough people to wash the windows and patch the roads and clean the dishes and pull weeds, and work on their jets. Doesn't matter what skills you got, because once the new system comes into play, every detail of what you do is going to be controlled 24/7. It's an interesting thing to look at the Darpa technology that they got. I don't think they're lying about it. They can wire you up to where you can do things that you don't even know what you're doing, but you're getting instructions downloaded and doing them. Wouldn't it be great to be a servo and not really human anymore? It's a process. They're not there yet, but that's what they're working toward. If you look into the research, you can go to TED Talks, these big corporate shills put out, some of their first and foremost people that they posit as intellectuals, and they'll tell you all about, we're hacking reality. It's the internet of the body. We're gonna become gods, and we're all gonna be controlled by AI, and it'll have an IQ of 6 million. Yeah. Its IQ will be 6 million. Oh, you better not piss it off. You better be very, very respectful and obeisant to this thing that we're creating, that we program, that has an IQ of 6 billion. And it'll control everything. You won't believe what it's going to be able to do. I mean, they'll tell you that. I'll dig up some links. I'm kind of pressed for time right now because I have a lot of stuff going on, but I'll get some links in there to some of this stuff. And these people are promoting their view so they can push things toward what they want. And it's all part of a whole. It's all tied together. It's amazing. I mean, once you enter this world and start looking for the truth, see, you know, I used to be bored when I was in my little small Midwestern hometown. I was bored all the time. Boredom's dangerous for some people. I did a lot of bizarre things just to, you know, kind of stir things up and see what the reaction would be, and study it. But God finally gave me something to do, and holy crap, I wish I had more time. I wish I had a staff. I wish I had, you know, more resources. But I'm not bored, and you got to be tenacious, and you can't let fear get a hold of you. Speak the truth, even if it's a little thing. Stand tall. This is kind of an introduction. I'm going to start making videos along this line, but there'll be breaks. It can't be heavy all the time. I have to have some lighthearted stuff and some funny stuff. In the future, I'm going to do some videos that are character studies, maybe a fairly short one about some of the people I've met over the years. I've met some fascinating people. I've met some people that were diamonds. I met some people that were doing what needed to be done no matter what. Absolutely fearless. Absolutely dedicated. That's the kind of people I respect. And some of them were monsters. I mean, they're just screwed up people with problems, and they were outlaws and freaks, and some of them were real characters. I'm gonna tell you about some of those people in the future. But that's enough for this video, I think. I need to be more organized and write myself some notes, because I get off on a rabbit trail and forget what I was talking about. It's all good though, isn't it? I mean, you get something from it. Okay, I'm going to make one more point. I did write in very sketchy notes, and I can actually read some of them too, but you probably can't. I was in a hurry, and I'm writing on my leg too. I didn't have a hard surface as I was in a hurry. But, yeah, we'll just go with that. Things haven't always been like this. Your grandmother, my mom, and possibly, depends on your age, right? They were educated in a time where they taught the trivium. They taught you grammar, logic, and rhetoric. They still do that here. They haven't done it in the West for years. They got rid of that, and they have modern methods that were sculpted by the corporations to make people more profitable to them. The trivium teaches you the foundational truths for interfacing with reality. The grammar of the universe, how to interface with other people. Grammar is in language. And not only in language, grammar is in a lot of things. To learn to conform to the rhythms of your particular culture and how to get along in the world. It was a very important part of education all throughout Christendom. And once you've got the grammar, then you study logic, and that's really pure interface with the reality. Geometry, math, the principles, how it works. Some people come to love math because they see how it works. They understand the principles of it. They don't teach it anymore. Now they teach you, what they call it, Common Core. Well, I've studied Common Core. I looked at what they're teaching them, and I can see what they're doing. And they're doing this with everything. I've seen it in the factories they're doing it. What they're doing is they're making it so students grow up to become people that can only solve simple problems in a group collectively by following instructions without understanding exactly what it is they're doing. You're following instructions to solve the problem. They make a real complex set of equations to solve a simple math problem. So you don't see how the numbers interact and stack up with your mind, with your intuition. You're just following the teacher's instructions so the right number comes up. Yay, you get a gold star. Well, okay, you have to do it collectively now. We don't want anybody claiming credit. No, that's what they're doing to kids. There won't be any people that come out of that that love math and study math and become math geniuses and come up with new concepts. And they don't want that. They want to control new concepts. They don't want competition. The corporations control the curriculum, and now they're really fine-tuning it. After logic comes rhetoric. You know how to interface with reality. You know, and you develop your own character, and you have your own opinions. That's the logos of the universe shines through your God-given personality that he made on purpose. Really. It might be corrupted or screwed up, but the core of it is the image of God, and it's your own unique image. And you bring this knowledge. You need to learn to communicate it effectively to other people. And that's what you need rhetoric for. Rhetoric sounds bad. Oh, that's propaganda. Oh, yeah. Indoctrination, propaganda, rhetoric. Look them up in the dictionary and see whether they're positive or negative words. If they sound negative to you, it's because you've had some conditioning along those lines. They're not. It's how we are raised. It's how we grow up. It's how we understand things, and you need to communicate with people. That's why your Antifa types and all those guys, they don't want dialogue. They want to just bash your brains in with a bicycle lock. And you know, some of the milder ones, your Ben Shapiro type crowd wants to talk to them. You know, Ben Shapiro is really good at what he does, arguing with retarded children, and he always wins. But you want to argue with these people, you want to reason with them, you want to plant little seeds of logic, and maybe something will click and they'll turn. Oh, their minders don't like that, and they come in there, and you can see YouTube videos where people are trying to talk to them, and a college professor that's running the Antifa cell comes running up. No dialoguing, do not dialogue with them. Yeah, it's got to be protected. Strange world we live in. It's going to get worse unless you start fighting it. Join me. Sign up. Uncle Billy signing out. This is part 1. We'll do more of this later. Or maybe we'll just do this all the time and won't have to divide it up into parts. But yeah, it'll be exciting. I think it'll be great. I'm going to do longer videos and more varied, more intense. And hopefully I won't get screwed with or tampered with too much by the professional trolls. You guys should be ashamed of yourselves. Not you, the trolls. Yeah, they're over here. They're watching and they're looking for ways to disrupt and disorient and break relationships and smear. Oh yeah. Yeah, you guys are freaking geniuses. Sounds paranoid, doesn't it? Well, that's part of it too. Oh, you're paranoid. That's not really happening. Oh, that's just your imagination. No, I found people. I found out who they were, and I've looked at their work from, you know, before they started pretending to be something else. They're out there and they're funded. But I'll be discreet. I'm not going to expose anybody on this. I just want people to be aware. There's people working for God knows who in disingenuous and furtive, sneaky fashion. They're thick. They're thick where I live for obvious reasons. Well, I'll cut this off. Let's see. Maybe we should do a positive note. What's something positive? Well, it's all positive because we know who wins in the end, eventually. Later.